What's going on, guys? The Cruzin Podcast. We're back with another episode today. Today, we're going to talk about a few things. First things first, I wanted to talk about, we saw Nightmare Alley last night. We were able to see it. The Guillermo Del Toro film with Bradley Cooper. We really wanted to talk about that. I wanted to get into also a little bit. Morbius got delayed. We found out, I think it was the news came out yesterday. Morbius got delayed from this month to like April 1st. So I want to talk about that a little bit and then just kind of roll from there. So yeah, let's just get into it. I mean, do you want to start with Morbius first? You want to talk about the Nightmare Alley?
Let's do Morbius first. That's quicker.
Yeah, just breaking news. Morbius, just Sony came out releasing a statement that they're delaying it from January. It was supposed to come out January 5th or 8th.
That's a big delay.
They just randomly came out and said that they're delaying it to April 1st. April Fool's Day. I find that really strange. A lot of people were kind of confused on what's going on there. I feel like there's two options here on why they delayed it.
The movie's so bad.
No, I don't think it's that at this point, because this movie's been delayed since 2020 because of, when the pandemic started. That's how long this movie's been delayed.
I think they're making a big mistake because after Spider-Man, people kind of want to see what's going to happen.
Yeah, so that's what I was going to say. I think there's two reasons for this. Because this movie, I think the movie's ready. The movie's been delayed since 2020. It's been 2 years, more than 2 years probably. Two options. I think one, it's either they're giving more time to give Spider-Man to just see how much money Spider-Man can rake in for the rest of the month. That's what I think for number one, and they're just pushing it back to let Spider-Man just run
until April.
Because the problem is in February they probably have other big movies coming out. Uncharted and Uncharted. I think Uncharted is their big one. They don't want to compete with their own movie. And then March you have Batman. You don't want to go against Batman. So
I feel like January's a good.
It was a good month, but I think one, it's either that they want to give Spider-Man No Way Home just more time to see how long.
Because what comes out in April? Any big movies?
Nothing.
In April?
Batman's the big one.
The Northman.
Yeah, but that's not a big movie. Yeah. But March is the Batman. That's a huge movie. So I think one option might be that they're giving Spider-Man just that extra time. Let Spider-Man just rake in as much money as possible until it's just dead. And then that could be one option. Or two, they're delaying it to get some additional footage in. Based off the success of Spider-Man No Way Home and the characters that are in that, maybe they're like, hey, you know what?
Andrew Garfield.
Let's, there has been on Twitter, everything, the Andrew Garfield movement and people trying to get him his third movie and stuff. Those are the two reasons I think might be it. One, to give Spider-Man just to rake in all the money, as much money as possible for the rest of the month. Or two, they're going to add additional footage, such as maybe a Andrew Garfield cameo. Not a cameo, but maybe like a post-credit scene or something like that. Or something Spider-Man related.
But do you think they'll actually do his movie?
I don't know, but those are the two options I think they're delaying it. I know a lot of people are like, oh, it's, because of the surge in the cases and stuff. With Spider-Man just made you over $1 billion. You just made the most money you've ever made as a company in a movie with Spider-Man. If anything, them releasing Morbius right after would ride that high. Because, for example, I'm not excited to see Morbius, but I wanted to see it just to see what happens how it relates to Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because we love Spider-Man.
I think it's just to add something. I think they're going to add something.
It's either that or... or they're trying to rake in more money for Spider-Man, but at that point, it's better to ride that off that high. And then even it's only
because the movie was coming out at the end of the month.
Yeah,
so it doesn't make
late
sense.
January.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense.
So that's an interesting.
It has to be to add more footage. I think it's to add something related to Spider-Man.
I think they made a decision as a company to you know what? Let's add something.
And because they put all these ads out, they've been advertising.
It's ready. It's ready.
That's it.
We just came back from watching when we saw Nightmare Alley, or watching Spider-Man again. We've seen it a few times already in theaters. And the trailer, it's that same trailer. We've been seeing that damn same trailer over and over, saying January. And now you just released a statement saying, oh, no, April.
Damn, I don't know.
So we got to wait 3 months now. And
now I don't give a shit.
Less than 2 months, but
Batman's going to take over. So
yeah, Batman's going to take over. and that's why I think they released it in April. I find that interesting because that's enough time to maybe squeeze in an extra, like a little post-credit scene, or maybe they're just trying to make extra money. I don't see any other reason why they would delay it to April.
I don't know about extra money because,
like for Spider-Man.
But Spider-Man again. But this movie was coming out at the end of the month, so it doesn't make sense.
To let Spider-Man keep running in theaters. I mean, Spider-Man still is
selling out.
It's still selling. I don't know if selling out maybe on the weekends, but even during the weekdays, I checked yesterday, it's still packing up theaters more than
I don't know.
movies
I
have
feel
all
like
year.
Morbius, I think they should have released it now. I think that's dumb.
That's why I think it must be that they're adding footage. I really feel...
Yeah, they're not going to say, we're adding...
Because knowing Sony, they're probably looking at all this feedback. They're writing this high of... I mean, Spider-Man's a massive hit. And they're probably like, let's...
not Toby, Andrew.
Maybe a little tease to something. And we just found out...
But Vulture is in it.
Vulture's in it, so we know it's in that universe.
That's Michael Keaton.
Yeah.
That's the Tom Holland's.
Michael Keaton from the
Yeah.
Homecoming. My guess, it makes sense. And Sony right now is like, oh my God, this is such a
Unless
hit.
something happens where, I guess Toby's. That's like the Toby, and not Toby. Andrew.
But in the Morbius
Andrew's,
trailer,
universe,
and in the Morbius trailer though, that poster of Spider-Man, it looks like Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man.
that's Maguire's suit. Like that's his suit. But
So
I think
what's
that's
going
like an
on
Easter egg.
there? Yeah, what's going on
No,
there?
but I think it might be Andrew Garfield.
I think so.
They're
And
not gonna bring
another
back Toby. They're not
another
gonna
thing
bring
we
him
have to
back.
mention too is we just found this out today. Marvel and Sony for No Way Home they were gonna do a post-credit scene in No Way Home of showing Andrew and Tobey Spider-Man going back to their universes, and they just decided not to do it. So these are things that are kind of swirling around. Like they didn't do that.
I think it's just to add more footage. And
Is that footage that they're gonna add for Morbius or something? But where does Morbius play in all this?
But it takes you 4 months. So I guess that means they're gonna film something.
No, we're in February, March, April, 3 months. And I think that's
you
because...
You can film something quick. You can film it and edit it. And
I think they had to be April because February, March is booked. You can't take it.
Yeah.
February, you got to give it to Uncharted. You can't compete with your own movie.
Even though I don't think that movie's on.
But, you can't compete with your own movie. That's just the rule. And then March, you have Batman. You're not going to... Don't go against Batman. Like, you're going to lose.
People are sold on that.
That's it.
Done.
Yeah. So, April 1st, like, boom, ready to go. Literally the first of the month. So... I do think those are one of the options. I maybe they're gonna add some footage on there, but that makes me wonder.
3 months is enough time to film a quick
edit.
Spider-Man scene, add some VFX stuff.
Yeah, but it makes me wonder: are they starting to just go on the fly and add stuff, or is it maybe ideas that they had that they weren't sure about? They're like, you know what? No, let's. Or maybe it's something to give fans extra, to give fans a little nudge.
I think after the feedback from this movie, from No Way Home. And the fact that everyone actually liked Garfield's Spider-Man.
They just loved, everything about it is just awesome. Yeah.
And I think, we can do like a 2 different Spider-Man universe. You can do a live action,
Yeah.
Like you have Tom Holland's movies and you have Andrew's movies. You can do stuff like that.
Or
Because I know because look at the Spider-Verse. They have the Miles Morales and then I think they want to do a Gwen Stacy movie. Right?
Something like that. Yeah.
So now you have all these different Spider-Man stuff going around.
Oh man, it's really interesting because.
But if they do add Spider-Man, though,
it worries me a little bit because I don't want them to just start adding things on the fly. Like I hope they have some sort of a plan, but I do think.
But I think they realize that Tom Holland and that Morbius, Venom. That won't work with Tom Holland.
That's why I actually want to see Morbius. I was curious to see it because where does this tie in? Because clearly Vulture is in
the movie,
Morbius, and so that means Morbius is part of this world.
Unless something happens when they send the villains back, fucks up with something.
But they mentioned something. Oh, what happened in San Francisco? Is that supposed to be Venom? Well, yeah, because he mentions Venom in the movie.
Yeah.
So. This is in the same universe of
Venom,
and then you have Morbius, but then you have Vulture in there. We already know that Venom is not part of.
Unless it's like an alternate version, of.
No, that would be too confusing.
It's a different.
Because we already know Venom is not part of the MCU universe because he got pulled back.
Unless that Vulture is not from MCU, it's a different like Vulture, it's a different like Michael Keaton character. I don't know. Unless they do like that whole DC crap, but it's a different universe like for each character.
Unless you see, this is where it gets confusing. If Michael Keaton wasn't in it, then I'll say, okay, this is part of Venom's universe.
Again, I guess, and he does say Spider-Man like he murdered someone. It
says like, murderer, but it's like murderer. Sam Raimi's. It's Toby's suit.
No, I think that's just like.
It looks like Toby's suit.
No, it is Toby's suit, but I think it's just like Easter egg. But I think they put Toby because they don't want to put Tom Holland because they're not sure if like.
You see, but yeah, that just makes it all more.
Yeah, because they put Toby because that's Toby's suit and that's Sony. That's all Sony. You can't put a Marvel suit.
But you see where it kind of gets. Damn it! Now we gotta wait till April because I want to see it. Just as, like, where does this go? It's clearly set with Venom, but now you're saying.
And I think they might change their mind with Tom Holland, and they might be like maybe Andrew Garfield fights these guys instead of Tom Holland.
Yeah, because either way, how would you pull it off for Tom Holland to?
He gets sucked. I think they said that he gets sucked to like that universe.
Yeah, because now they already established Venom is in a different universe, so that means Morbius is part of that.
I think they want to keep Tom Holland with like that Marvel stuff.
Yeah, and they established that well. What I'm confused about, what makes this super confusing with Morbius, is the Michael Keaton piece.
I think that's
because Morbius mentions Venom, so I was like, okay, that's in the same world. But Michael Keaton is in it,
unless
now that
it's a different universe, like
with what we know about the multiverse too, like now we know, like that's wide open. Now we know like Venom is part of the Sonyverse, not MCU. So with the Michael Keaton thing is interesting. I don't know what that means.
Unless like there's like a post like a scene of like Michael Keaton getting sucked into that universe from No Way Home.
That sounds too complicating already.
But you know again, I'm just like
I don't know. It's weird.
Thinking of ways. I think they want Andrew Garfield for these characters. I think they want Andrew Garfield to fight these guys after how well he did in No Way Home and how everyone loved him.
Yeah.
I think this is their way to like continue his story.
Yeah, give him one more. Give him his third movie.
And he kind of like defeat, the Morbius. I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know. I don't know what they're doing with Venom. I don't know what they're doing.
Venom is like that movie. It's like that makes no sense. And it's like, why is this even a thing?
Let There Be Carnage was pretty bad. But
I just don't understand the point of Venom.
At this point, it doesn't make sense. Just leave him as a standalone.
It's like, I don't know. It's just, those movies make no sense. Like nothing happens in those movies.
Yeah,
like,
I'm curious to see what happens with that.
I think Sony's just constantly like the Amy Pascal is like they're changing their ideas around.
Yeah, they tend to do that because before this whole multiverse thing,
I think Amy Pascal wants Andrew Garfield for that universe, and that's all Sony. That's all there.
Yeah, and that's fine.
So that's double the money for them.
That's fine.
More money for them.
And
I think
do like one more movie and. Just don't follow that plot line that they had for Spider-Man.
No, what did they do more than one movie? Like 4 or 5?
I wouldn't. I would do one more, give him his third, and then you start branching it and connecting it to the MCU stuff because I feel like they are going to do that. But I'm just curious, where are these villains? They're clearly not going to be. They can't be in the MCU. Kevin Feige seems to not want any of those villains in the MCU.
That post-credit scene, No Way Home, kind of implies
confirms it. It confirms that Kevin Feige's like, that's cool and all, but keep it over there. Just drop the symbiote here and then go back.
I can picture Kevin Feige watching Venom like, this is terrible.
I mean, yeah. So they in that post-credit scene with No Way Home, it's basically saying, yeah, we don't want this Venom. Yeah. Like, just drop the symbiote, take it back, we
get a different Venom.
We'll get a different Venom altogether. Boom, done.
They're gonna cast out like someone.
So that means I'm pretty sure they're not gonna want Morbius. Michael Keaton as Vulture it's already happened in Homecoming. And he was in jail and all that. So
he did say he was filming some stuff for Vulture.
Yeah, he's been filming. So that's why I'm confused. If he's in that world, does that mean Morbius? But then that means Venom is in that world too. You know what I mean? That's the confusing part. Maybe Morbius will explain it. Maybe they'll explain how Michael Keaton is there. Let's see. It's very interesting because No Way Home establishes that, hey, these villains are... Like Venom and clearly Morbius are from a different... That's the Sony... Like, they established that there's a Sonyverse. Like, there's different multiverses.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because Andrew Garfield, Toby.
Sony is a mess right now. Like Sony is just so like.
Because it seems like
no plan. They have no plan.
It seems like they're still trying to follow along with that Sinister Six idea. They still want to do that. Yeah, I'm kind of curious to see where that all leads to, because I guess hopefully Morbius explains that, because Sony clearly wants to keep doing that Sinister Six idea. I do think with that extra, I think they're trying to add some extra footage, maybe a post-credit scene, something to get something for the fans. And if they do that, it's gonna be crazy.
It's Andrew Garfield.
That'll be crazy. So let's see. But yeah, with that, I want to talk about Nightmare Alley. New movie, Guillermo Del Toro. It came out maybe like a month ago. You know, a lot of people were, I guess, complaining about the fact that, about these smaller movies not getting enough attention and stuff. To be fair, this movie came out in the middle of
the biggest movie of the year. In
the middle of Spider-Man. We were just talking about, Morbius, Spider-Man. This movie came out during that, and you can't expect it to, that's just a bad release date, With that being said, Guillermo Del Toro with Bradley Cooper, you got a great cast. This was such a great movie.
It really was.
What I found interesting was I remember watching the trailer I saw it like one time and that was it.
Yeah, I only saw it.
So we kind of saw it blind, technically, like because that first trailer I completely forgot it.
No, it wasn't like the full trailer. It was like a teaser.
It was a teaser, and then we kind of went in blind. Yeah.
Anything.
So which kind of helped so much because watching this movie I had no idea where it was going, but in the best way possible, and I really loved the story. It was shot so well. It was just directed amazingly. Bradley Cooper, I mean, the whole cast was great. You got like Rooney Mara in this, Richard Jenkins, Cate Blanchett, Willem Dafoe, Ron Perlman. I mean, it's a set cast, and everybody does so good in this. Bradley Cooper is the lead; he does amazing, and there's some great shots in this movie.
Yeah, because when the movie started, I was like, "Oh, is this like a silent film? Like, is Bradley Cooper not going to talk a lot?
Yeah, is he like mute?"
Yeah, because I noticed that like the first 5 to 10 minutes, he wasn't saying anything. He was kind of just nodding his head.
Yeah,
didn't say much. I was like, oh, he's like the silent character.
And then he kind of, as he got more comfortable, I guess, and started learning. And I loved the concept of the movie was great, but I just didn't know it was about that at all. I thought it was about this carnival.
I thought it was about some big
like
monster.
A horror film. I thought it was a horror film about this carnival, and there's like a monster or something there, and like what's going on within the carnival. Yeah. So when this movie goes where it goes, like in that second half, I was like, oh, this is not what I thought it was. And it was actually way better than I wanted. It wasn't what I expected, but it was better than I expected, I guess. I think Guillermo del Toro does great in this. The shots, there's some beautiful shots in this movie. And it's staged so well, the blocking and the acting is so good. Seeing Bradley Cooper, Cate Blanchett do their thing, Rooney Mara. Everybody does so good, and I think, without getting into spoilers, but I think the ending is so good.
That is a good
I think
ending.
the story really does come full circle in the best way possible.
Yeah.
That ending was just perfect. It couldn't have been any better. Bradley Cooper does so good, and it is a shame that one, the fact that a movie like this got made. These are not movies that it's not a mainstream movie. It's not your big blockbuster, this is a very like old school movie, and I love that. And I think it's so good, and it does deserve that recognition. People should go see it. We saw it like
Del
at
Toro
10 o'clock.
It's just great, man. He's really good.
He's really good.
I'm dying for him to do a BioShock movie.
And yeah, he can nail that
because
easily.
every time I watch his movies, like it just looks like just do a BioShock movie.
He has the style, and
he's very good with gore. I love the way he does his gore.
Yeah, this movie's like gory, but then but
the thing is, like usually, like some people, like when they try to do like gory stuff, it's like over the top.
Yeah,
like he does it just right.
Yeah.
It's like that good amount. And I don't know, like he's just very good with that.
Yeah, when this movie went gory, if in a few scenes in the beginning, I really thought like, oh, this is gonna be like a horror film or something, and then it's not. It's just it's very, I don't know, and the set pieces, the set design, like the world is shot so well, it's established so well. It's just such a great movie, and we saw it A Cinemark theater had one showing left. There was one showing for the day. It was 10:05 p.m.
And the movie, I felt really immersed in that world. I felt like I was in that time period.
Yeah, it was very well done.
I never felt like out of it. Like the outfits, the way
everything.
Like it just felt like you're in that time period.
The production design.
You're in that time period.
It's real sets, and it was just so good. And it's a lengthy movie. It's like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
But man, it's so good. It's basically like this rise and fall story of just this tale. It feels like this epic tale.
Dude, that ending, that is.
It's up there. It's a great ending.
Yeah, that's a good ending. I really liked. Like when it ended, I was like, "Wow, that was good." And then Bradley Cooper's like, acting.
This is the kind of movie I think deserves that recognition for Oscars. I think Guillermo Del Toro deserves that again.
Yeah, and for costume design too. I
Everything.
really like the costume,
the production design,
outfits.
the costumes, I love the soundtrack. Very simple soundtrack.
I noticed with him, he's another one of these like top guys that don't get like recognized because his
style of movies is not what
his movies like. He always has to like fight for his movies just to get it made.
He does very interesting, weird movies in a good way, but that's obviously not a draw for big studios. But when he does make them, he wins the Oscars, and they're great movies. But man, this was so good. The ending is a perfect ending. You gotta watch his
Hellboy movies.
Yeah, I gotta do kind of a binge of all his movies. But so good. There's certain shots in this that I'm just like, wow, man.
I love
because with the music and the snow falling, and it's just like this fantasy. It's just shot so well. And it was nice getting a movie like this with these great actors and just really soaking it all in, Yeah, and it's so good.
He his shots. I think in Cruzin Peak, I think that's his last movie I saw of his, or was he did one? No, Shape of Water.
Shape of Water, yeah.
Shape of Water was his last one I saw. And I can't go into spoilers, but that scene, towards that third act,
it's great.
I don't know, his shots. It's just he has good shots.
It's just so good, and. It doesn't have to be this thing of one against the other, this is why the superhero movies suck because it's ruining. I feel like there should be a place where both. I do think this movie was released at a bad time, and this is a movie from what, Fox? This is from Fox.
I think so.
So, which now Fox is run by Disney, and I think Disney was just like, yeah, just release it.
And Disney owns
they don't
fucking
care.
Everything. They own fucking everything.
I do think there should be a world for both.
The problem is that movies, just people, when they go to a theater, it's like, okay, you have Spider-Man, Nightmare Alley.
They're obviously gonna pick Spider-Man.
Everyone's always gonna pick Spider-Man.
We saw Spider-Man 3 times.
But even if it's not even Spider-Man, if it's what's the last one that came out? The Shang-Chi. Or people are always gonna choose Marvel
movie,
because it's just a dumb action
it's
film.
It's a mainstream.
Yeah, it's a mainstream
form,
action movie that everyone wants to go see. Honestly, some people want more of that art house stuff.
Yeah.
But the thing is, the way movies are going, it's very rare.
And I do think what hurts.
That's why look at what's his name? David Fincher. He went to Netflix.
Yeah,
because
studios don't want to fund movies like that, and I think now with Fox being owned by Disney, that kind of hurt it. I think that's why I think A24 does really well because they kind of release their movies. They know when to release it, and they have their own sections. I feel like A24 is slowly kind of getting bigger. Like The Northman coming out, and but they release it at good times, and they let the movies just do its thing. But I mean, the fact that they released this. It's that's not fair. I can't sit here and say, "Oh, people are so stupid."
Maybe you
we saw
Spider.
Yeah, maybe, but we saw Spider-Man 3 times before seeing this, and it's not because we didn't want to watch it, but
I'm surprised they didn't release it in November. I thought November.
Yeah, there was nothing in November. But again, November was Eternals. But again, when you have a company if it's Disney running when this gets released,
is Disney owns everything.
So obviously a smaller movie like this, they're gonna be like, yeah, just release, because it's not gonna make the money it's not. But it shouldn't have to be this one against the other. I do think there should be a place for both, because this month, actually the month of December, and now in January, I think it was like a really good, fun month in the sense of, we got a really good, like, fun Spider-Man movie. I think that was great. I had a great time with it. We saw it 3 times, and it was actually good, and it was fun. It was entertaining, and I don't know. It was really nice that we got that. It was a cool theater experience, and I loved going to that. And then but what I don't like is, I think the theater we go to is pretty small too, so I can't, because we got to see this one at Cinemark. It's a bigger theater, so the movies are out there. But I do like the fact, like, okay, you know what? I saw SpiderMan No Way Home. Let's go watch Nightmare Alley. And I know I'm getting a completely different movie, but there should be a place for both. I think studios should understand that.
The West Side Story.
West Side Story came out, but again, that following week, Spider-Man came out. Boom. It's completely understandable. You can't get mad at people for one. It's a Spider-Man movie, and one of the biggest Spider-Man movies. That's the problem. Like, that's a bad time to release your movie. Not even The Matrix did well.
Yeah.
Not even The Matrix. Matrix did fine, and not even. I don't even think it's past what it cost. So, and that wasn't a very good movie. But besides there was no. I figured that movie wasn't gonna make a lot of money because it was going against Spider-Man. No movie going against Spider-Man was gonna. It's just too big of a movie. But I do want there to be two. I feel like a studio should be able to just give us both. Like, fund that movie, but take it seriously. Give it a good release date and not just not fund it.
Problem is Disney just doesn't even know what to do.
Because if not, then you get directed, like David Fincher, Scorsese, they're going to streaming because these other studios don't want to fund their movie. And that's where I think the studios are going out of touch. They think, oh, this is what people want all the time. Like, no, like, as much as I love Spider-Man, but like Marvel in general, I'm kind of like, okay, like I want a good,
film that actually makes
art house indie film. Like, that's
like this movie. This is a film that you have to watch multiple times just to see, like, just to catch, like,
and that's fun too. And then sometimes, okay, you know what? Let's go watch fucking whatever
Marvel movie.
What's the new Marvel movie? And that's fine. I know what I'm going into, but there should be both. And
look at the tragedy of
Macbeth.
That one that's coming out.
Yeah, for Apple TV.
And it comes on theaters too, select theaters.
Hopefully we can watch that in theaters.
Oh, I don't think so. I checked.
Well, you see, that's another movie that leaning towards the streaming side.
No, I think I checked the movie times. They only have one area.
Yeah,
like it's like super far.
It's mostly going to be at probably Apple TV.
Yeah.
So it seems to be going that direction. I want these movies to keep being made. Like, this movie, I'm surprised it was made by a studio and released in theaters. And it's awesome. It's such a good movie. I highly recommend it. You guys should definitely check it out wherever you can. It's such a good movie. Such a good movie. But I do think, like, that's kind of like my take on this whole, like, because I get it. Like, everybody brings up the Scorsese quote. They're amusement parks, which Marvel movies are. They are, like, they're fun. It's a fun experience. Like, you're not going in to have this, like, deep,
meaning,
philosophical movie about, whatever. It doesn't have to be that. It's a fun Marvel movie. It has its formula.
But the thing is, the problem is that there's, like, a Marvel movie coming out every, like, 3 months. So it's like, so it's hard for these small films to, like, get that because they always have to go up against these big movies.
Yeah. Well, there's gaps, but yeah, I mean, because now every studio wants that. That's why they're doing so many remakes or such big action movies that they think people want, and people are, and then it kind of doesn't do well. But I think there is a place for both because, as much as, maybe the MCU right now, I think Spider-Man brought back the hype for, the MCU and Doctor Strange, but the MCU stuff has been a fun ride. Like, that build up to Infinity War, Endgame, and that all has been really fun. Like, we've never gotten that before. The fact that we got to live through that, but then I also love, okay, I saw that. Now let me go watch something that's, let me watch, like, an art house movie, like, for, like, film buffs, for people that are film buffs like us that, let me see, like, a David Fincher movie, a Guillermo Del Toro movie, Steven Soderbergh. Let me watch something like that now, that's different. It's a more art house. And I think it's just that having that balance as opposed to just, oh, these movies are boring, they suck, people don't want to watch that. Let's only pump out these mindless action movies. Because it's not just Marvel. I think it's just action movies in general, like that they're just mindless, like, and they're not very good, you know?
Except for Tenet.
Yeah, that's Christopher Nolan. Christopher Nolan's in his own, like,
Realm.
world. Yeah. But I think that's kind of like my stance on that, where it's, I think it just needs to be balanced. But these studios, they just think numbers.
Yeah,
they just want big action movies.
What is it what David Fincher said? They want
They want a Jurassic Park.
No, what is it? He said Happy Meals.
They want Happy Meals, yeah.
They want Happy Meals. It's
That's why they remade Jurassic Park. Well, not remake, but Jurassic World. That's all they're looking for.
Star Wars.
Where's that other Jurassic World? Where's that other Marvel now in this case, or DC or
That's why Fincher signed with Netflix and just I'll do my movies there.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been able to make a Mank movie for So that's the case with that.
But the thing is, it does hurt theaters too, though, because the problem is if we don't have the Marvel movie, like for example, like let's say Marvel took a break, right?
And for a year,
right? And it's only like these art house films. No one's not gonna go see that. No one's not gonna go to a theater and make
or maybe
money.
They do, and there's that one movie that's like actually people love it, like a La La Land. Studios were against La La Land. Like he took them a while to make.
Yeah, but
he made it.
But that was different. Now, like movies now are very different now.
Yeah, but that's an example of that was 2018. Marvel's around, but it was an example of a small movie.
The way how like the pandemic and all that.
No, yeah, but I'm
slows down everything.
I'm saying the example of like that's a small movie that studios didn't think was going to do well, and it made a lot of money. It was all over the place.
Yeah,
Joker, but it used the Joker name, so it's not the same. It's still it's a small. It was low budget. It was a risk, but it was still used.
At Joker, like
it's an IP.
Yeah, it's
no. But La La Land was a big hit. People so there's if you give those movies a chance, if people have a chance to actually watch it and you market
Tenet made money.
Tenet's a big action movie, but it's a Christopher Nolan movie, which is good. But like a movie like La La Land, or I mean, back then, man, the hits of back then, the E.T.s, Jurassic Park, Jaws, those were considered blockbusters at the time, but those were original movies. It's a different Back to the Future. It's fun getting original stuff too, and that's just kind of the.
So if the problem is people are just used to. Just watching Marvel films.
When you're used to watching a formula of just action movies in general, and that Marvel movies have that formula where, like, pick up the pace, action, like quick joke here and there, like a Fast and Furious movie or something.
Yeah, but
when you go from that and you watch maybe like a Nightmare Alley,
like, oh wait, what is this?
You're like, I'm bored, or I can't finish this, And again, I like a good action movie, like a Godzilla vs. Kong. That was fun. But I like the balance of let me watch this, and then I hope there's like an A24 movie.
If you're like those those hardcore film guys, but like a casual viewer, they're always gonna choose a Marvel, and I think that's where it gets.
But I
tricky,
think if these movies get released at a good time, like a movie people like they like a good story. I think if you push it well enough. A24 movies are never going to be, but they know that. Like, that's what they're known for. They do indie movies.
Yeah.
But there's always going to be, like, a movie here and there that does make a big impact on people who are like, oh, I love this movie. And so it's just kind of like having that. I just, I want there to be both. Because if we just get there was a period we weren't getting much. And we were just getting, we got, like, Black Widow, and then we were on a streak of like really bad just action movies, like Mortal Kombat. We got like Mortal Kombat, and then it was like Black Widow, and then it was something else, and it was a bad streak of movies. I was like, man, this is like all the same thing. And then you get the occasional, like if A24 released something, yeah, then you're like, oh yes, this was good. So it's just having that balance, That's kind of like my take on that. Yeah, we kind of went into this realm because I think Nightmare Alley really does. It brings up that conversation.
It's a shame.
It brings up the conversation.
No one's talking about it.
No, it's. I mean, it's already running out of theater time,
and it's already out of theaters.
And now we had the new one, with the Paul Thomas Anderson movie.
And that one didn't even last. It didn't even last in theaters. It's
been a month.
Yeah, but like I don't think it made any money.
It's going against Spider-Man. That's a bad release date, though. I can't say, because it's this. Like, I think it just, like, it's a bad idea to release that against Spider-Man.
But the problem is that these theaters, they don't give it the
apparently they were removing, because nobody's going to book it. They're like, should we just use this theater for this screen? I kind of get it, though. I kind of get it.
That's the problem, because this movie wasn't getting, because like, okay, let's say I had a movie at 9:00, since no one booked it or whatever. Let's just take it out, put Spider-Man.
I can't blame them.
Dude,
that sucks.
I was checking for that for after like 3 days. Yeah. It was barely any time. It was like one time for it.
Yeah, because the demand was for Spider-Man. But I do think that's why. And I get it. It's not right, but I get the theaters. Clearly, there's a demand for Spider-Man. Theaters are trying to make their money as much as they can. If you see that nobody's going to see this movie, I get it. I think I don't like it, but I get it.
Look at the one we just saw with Joaquin Phoenix. Come on, come on.
Come on, come on.
That movie.
A24 movie. Great movie. Amazing movie.
No one talked about it. It's barely in theaters. It was barely.
A24, like, indie movies have a separate release strategy, but
the problem is that Nightmare Alley was like for like a week, 3 days.
No, it's been out for a month, but yeah, the times were not.
After like 3 days, it was already like down to one time. I was like, the movie literally just came out, and it's already down to one time.
Yeah,
only.
The demand, and they were,
the same way with the West Side Story. Like, it's barely.
Yeah.
It's like, wait, how is it already out of theaters? Like, I haven't even got a chance to even go to watch it.
I get that, and it's just West Side Story had some momentum, but again, it's hard because Spider-Man's such a big draw, and I think it's just a bad release date, as it really is. And again, not a lot of people want to see these kind of movies. That's fine, but man, don't release it with Spider-Man. Don't release it against the biggest movie since Endgame. Yeah. That's like trying to, when Endgame was coming out, being like,
Lighthouse.
That's really, like, you're not going to make money. Like, it's not going to happen because you don't have the marketing draw like Disney and Marvel does. You don't have the, it's very different. And, let's see. I think there's a hope for like a balance there. I think that it'll keep going as we go, especially like with Netflix and Apple TV. Like, they're all trying to like.
I think a lot of these art house movies are just gonna be more streaming.
It's gonna be like theaters and streaming, and I'm okay with that. I'm okay as long I would like seeing them in theaters. Come On was another great one that A24 was released in theaters. We got to see it in theaters. It was great, amazing movie. It was up there for me this year in movies. Another great, Joaquin Phoenix, and great soundtrack. Just everything's so good. It's an A24 movie now. A lot of people are gonna go see it, So it's just that kind of thing. With Nightmare Alley, this is a pretty.
Look at Quiet Place Part 2. That one made money too.
Quiet Place Part 2. It's an original movie. It's a sequel. Quiet Place 1, made a lot of money. It was an original story.
And Quiet Place 2 came out at a good time.
It came out at a good time, And that movie had a big draw already. So it's just a matter of Quiet Place. I'm sure studios are like, I don't know. And then they made it and it made money. So it's just that's why it's good to have these original stories coming out, because you never know which one might resonate with people more and become a huge hit. Not every movie has to become a huge hit, but I think there should be movies out there for people to see, not just a Fast and the Furious and then a Marvel movie and then a DC movie and then like a remake. And then they're all like, okay. So, yeah, Nightmare Alley, amazing movie.
It was great.
That's still in some theaters. Come On is not in theaters anymore, but that's another good one for A24. I recommend it. It should be out on probably on like to rent or something. Like we didn't get a chance to see like Late Night in Soho. We haven't seen West Side Story yet. And the new Paul Thomas Anderson movie came out, the Lisorio Pizza, something like that. Yeah. It's with Bradley Cooper as well. That's another good one that it just came out, so we're going to watch that. We're going to try to see if we can get West Side Story in there before it leaves theaters. We're trying to figure that out. But there's a lot of movies out there. It's just, man, it's a bad month to try to release. Like, now, we're in January. Now it's the new year. But in December, man, you're going to get Spider-Man. With all the rumors and the hype. So, yeah, that's kind of like our take on that. Nightmare Alley, though, is a great movie. I highly recommend it. Watch it wherever you can, wherever, if it's in the theaters or if you can rent it, whatever the case may be. And anything else before we wrap it up? I think that's it. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching and for listening. Hope you enjoyed this episode. Let us know what you think on, what we just talked about. Like, let us know your thoughts. Feel free to like and subscribe. The channel's growing. It's growing well. So we thank you for always sticking around and subscribing and stuff like that. So thank you so much for watching, and goodbye.